Hello and welcome to the Euro podcast from sportsbet.io. Every week we cover the Bundesliga, Serie A and La Liga. Do take a look at the Clubhouse TV YouTube channel to find all of that. As you'll know, this is our La Liga episode this week. And of course, we're joined by our fantastic friend Juan Castro from Marca over in Spain. We will start with a game that's going to be extremely emotional at the Mestalla as Valencia host Betis. Valencia doing some very lovely things ahead of this game, as well as you can imagine, Juan. The ticket sales will go to children who've been affected by the tragedy. This is their first home game since that horrible event as well. This is a game that's a bit more than just football, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, the match against Real Madrid was suspended. So now, after almost 3 weeks, more than 3 weeks, the football is coming back to Mestalla, but with the remains of the more than 200 people that has died in this community. So of course it will be very emotional this beginning of the match against Betis. Yes.
It's strange to sort of talk about it in these sort of terms when we're talking about the aftermath and the continuing tragedy that's happened there. But looking at this, with Valencia having won only once this season, this is a game where you could imagine the emotion of the tie. You could imagine the energy of the tie helping them on the field, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it has to help. It has to help definitely because Valencia suddenly is at the bottom of the table, so they have to win. I mean, they cannot wait anymore. They have to drop some points from here to the end of the year at least. And maybe this atmosphere, which is gonna be very emotional, it has to help to the team, to Barajas team, to drop some points because otherwise they are going to drink with with not to drink to oversee the relegation.
And the Spanish Segunda is a very difficult league to get out of as well. It's an extremely hard league to navigate in any way, shape or form. Their form had at least improved a little bit before all of this. They picked up a couple of draws, but they're taking on a Real Betis side who are in very good form. And away from home, okay, they lost at Real Madrid, they lost at the Pizjuan against Sevilla, but this is a very good Betis side, isn't it?
Yes, I think Pellegrini is now has now found his team for this season. They have some injuries like Isco, he's still injured, but I think now Pellegrini has the new Betis. So
Yeah.
I believe that from now on, Betis is going to progress, and why not to dream with European positions.
We will see, but obviously it's going to be a very, very emotional day at the Mestalla this weekend. We'll move on to Atletico Madrid as they take on Alaves. I mean, Juan, to your credit, a few weeks ago when I said, look, Diego Simeone, there's some questions about his future, you were absolutely not having it. No. Nonsense, rubbish, they'll be fine. I think since then they've won 4 on the bounce. I know they've obviously played in a cup game against a side they should be hammering as well, but they've looked very good. They've won at PSG. And it's tough to see how Alaves win here, isn't it?
Yeah, they have recovered at least a little bit in the part of results. Maybe now is the time to play better. Maybe now is the time to demonstrate that that they can fight for La Liga, for the title. They have 7 points behind Barcelona, which is a lot for being in November. So they cannot lead any more points against Alaves at home. So I will predict a very easy victory for Atletico.
Yeah, it might be worth looking at minus a goal, overs and the goals for Atletico, something like that. I mean, look, beating Las Palmas, beat Leganes here as well. The good teams, the poor teams, if we will, very rarely go to Atletico Madrid and get anything from these games. Have there been big improvements in the likes of Conor Gallagher, or is he still struggling a little bit? I mean, where is this Atletico squad in your opinion? Is there still a lot more to come? And is Diego Simeone just getting what he needs to out of it, or are they starting to find some rhythm?
I think the start of the season was really, really good for him. Then he played not so well, like 3-4 games. But I think Atletico Madrid fans are really happy with him. Simeone as well. I think Simeone knows what Gallagher can give to the team. He has scored his first goal with England. So he is coming with a good aim. I think he will be in the lineup, and I believe he will be a very important player for Simeone in the rest of the season. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes from here. Right, Celta Vigo against Barcelona. Now, I just gave you a compliment a moment ago, Juan. I'm going to give myself a compliment now, if that's okay.
Yeah, why not?
In the Real Sociedad, I said we're a team who not always got points against Barcelona, but would tend to play quite well against them, even if they lost. Obviously, Hansi Flick has this incredible run. They're scoring 1,000 goals and looking unstoppable. They go to Sociedad and they lose 1-0 in a bit of a surprise result there. What's been the aftermath of that loss for Barcelona?
Well, I mean, the question here is is Barcelona going to maintain this ring before Real Sociedad match, this ring during the whole of the season, the rest of the season, or maybe this loss against Real Sociedad is the beginning of the new Barcelona? That's the question, and this question is going to be solved maybe in Vigo. They have only 6 points ahead Real Madrid, but with one match more than Real, so they cannot drop points. But it's a big question, the one who is going to be solved in Vigo. Is the new Barcelona or is the old Barcelona?
What I think is really weird about Barcelona is it's almost like they score so many goals, they win so many games, and they're going better and better and better and better and better. And then suddenly, like we saw against Osasuna, there'll be this plummet. And then they'll get brilliant plummet. It's a very strange side. But I suppose, is it fair to say that as a product of scoring so many goals, attacking in the way that they attack, is a product that every now and again, when that doesn't work, you get a weird result?
Well, I think Flick teams take a lot of risk. So in that sense, it's quite logical to think in that sometimes this risk is becoming in a defeat.
Yeah.
But I think this Barca is very regular in terms of how they play, also in terms of results. But it's true what you say. Sometimes like they have like a hole, and maybe now is the time for the second hole in the consecutive Real Sociedad and maybe Celta Vigo. I think it's not a very easy game for Barca.
No. Well, I was going to ask you because obviously the Baleados and Claudio Giraldes, they're a strange team, Vigo, in that I think the squad is not good enough for Europe, but is probably slightly better than where they are now. What makes a Vigo side, or this Vigo side, good at the moment?
Well, I think they began really well the season. They played really well. They were one of the sides who best play in La Liga. But I think also that the results of Celta are more like the second part of this season than the first half. I think it's gonna be very difficult that they won't be in the fight of the relegation at the end of the season. So I think it's quite normal that Celta Vigo can suffer this kind of holes as well.
Yeah, as Atletico and Real Madrid found, it's not easy to win there. They did get the wins, but they weren't easy victories. And when you're a home side who really are only looking at Atletico and of course Real Madrid winning there, it means that overall, even if you lose to Barcelona, your home form is probably going to be pretty solid over the course of the whole term. We will speak about Real Madrid now. The last game we're going to look at this week of Leganés against Real Madrid. Now, one thing I didn't realise, Juan, going into this, is that Leganés form is actually pretty all right at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty all right because, they are a team which is built for not being relegated. So I think they are quite well. They are competing every game. So they have not took like easy defeats. And I think it's a quite difficult game for Real Madrid, not only because it's a derby in Madrid, it's a derby in Leganés, but also because it's a small field, and some players are coming from the international games like Valverde, like Vinicius. Of course, Rodrigo is injured. Courtois as well. So I think it's not so easy as people can imagine, because it's Leganes.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you're Leganes and you finish the season 13 points off Real Madrid as they are right now, you're going to be safe, aren't you? So that is, like you say, they're a team built for survival, and at the moment they're looking very good in doing that. They obviously beat Celta Vigo, as you mentioned. They obviously beat Sevilla, although Sevilla on the road are usually an easier team to beat than the Pishwan. Of Real Madrid, I mean, we were talking and sort of quite critical of them, obviously, that loss to Barcelona, the loss in the Champions League to AC Milan. They ran through Osasuna, Vinicius Junior with a hat-trick, 4-0 win in that one. It's still hard, though, particularly off the back of the international break, I think, Juan, to be expecting Real Madrid to be brilliant. They might get the job done, but I find it hard to support them to blow teams away at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they have not been brilliant in almost any game. And it's quite important that after the international breaks, this kind of matches are really, historically, are really difficult for Real, because, you know, the international players are like a bit thinking in another way. So it's quite difficult. Maybe we'll have some news on the lineup. Maybe Brahim is on the lineup instead of some of the international players. Bellingham is coming with a new, let's say, with a new brave, because he has scored with England. He has played really well with England. So in this way, it's not an easy match for Real.
No, maybe a narrow win perhaps for Real. I think they win the game. It's just a case of how they do it, really. Juan, thank you so much as always for your fantastic expertise on our sportsbet.io Euro podcast. Again, don't forget to keep an eye out for all of our others, the Bundesliga, the Serie A, also every week coming to you. It's going to be a big week in Spain, but of course a hopefully very nice week, poignant week for Valencia.